Okay, so I wanted to get on here and talk about how to choose curriculum that will work for your family. But then I started thinking, as I'm making this video, that a lot of us are already into the school year and we may have already picked curriculum. So I wanted to talk about not just choosing the right curriculum, but what do we do when the curriculum that we have already picked and chosen doesn't seem to be going as planned. Welcome to Learning with Boys. My name is Rachel. I am a homeschool mom of 4 boys. I have graduated too this school year. I have a 7th grader and another senior. We are in our 17th year of homeschooling. And today I want to talk about curriculum. And when I first had the thought for this video, I was thinking I'm going to talk about choosing curriculum that works. And the more I thought about it, I thought I really just want to be an encouragement. So I am going to talk about it a little bit at the end to hopefully help you in the future. But I know so many of you are already in the midst. You've already started homeschooling. You've already picked your curriculum. And I know even for me, with my 7th grader, I've already had to tweak things and come up with some other ideas. So I want to talk about that. Okay, so I have used a lot of curriculum over the years, and I know as homeschool moms, we love curriculum, but there's also that feeling of overwhelmed, anxious. So let's talk about that and maybe some things that we can do to tweak or make something work for us. I'm just going to give you some examples of things that we have done. Now, I am thinking about a particular curriculum that you like to use, and you realize you have one that is a totally different learner, and you're not sure if this is going to work for them in the same way. So sometimes you can use curriculum, but you can tweak it to work for both types of learners. We used a curriculum called Explode the Code. When my boys were younger, 2 of them had used it. And for one of mine, he really struggled with reading and writing. So he really needed the extra work, the visual of it. And we did have a core phonetic program we were using, but this was something I did almost daily with him to help in the practice of it. Now, for my other son, he was using the same phonetic program. It was actually Spell to Write and Read, but I used the Explode the Code more as a supplement, more as just to solidify. And I may use it a couple times a week. I didn't use it as often. That's just an example. Just because a curriculum says day 1, day 2, day 3, if your child has a concept down, it's not necessary to follow the curriculum to the T. And I think that's what a lot of parents struggle with. Like, it says I'm supposed to be on day 4 and I haven't even got to this particular week yet. And that happens. So really for us, it's just do the next thing. And really as a homeschool mom with kids and other responsibilities, that's all you can do is do the next thing. I know there have even been times the first of the year, beginning of the year, I'm thinking, I'm going to have to step back and review these math concepts for him. This is if you have not been doing it over the summer, like I always plan but never do. So that is something I have to plan on the first couple weeks, is really just pulling out review sheets from last year, things he's already done. And some of my boys need that more often, and I had one that was really good at math and that wasn't even necessary. He just always thought about math. So, and if you understand that each child will be different, it'll make things a little bit easier because you're not feeling the stress of like, oh my goodness, they're behind, when really they just need to make sure that they have this concept down before they can move forward. So these are just thoughts to sort of help you think things through. If this year started out rough and things are not going as you expected, or maybe you're in the middle of the year and things just don't seem like they are going smoothly and you're trying to decide, is this curriculum even working? So I'm just trying to give you some ideas. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what happens when you're just like done with this curriculum. But I am trying to give you some ideas because I know curriculum is costly. I want moms to know that You are the teacher. You are in control of the curriculum. You can tweak it to make it work for your child or even you as the parent. So another thought, if you're struggling with the curriculum. In my prep video for the year, I talked about making sure that you go through all the teacher's notes. Make sure you don't miss anything, because I have done that. And sometimes that can put a kink in the curriculum moving forward. Like, I had missed something that would have been so helpful. So don't give up too soon on a curriculum just because it is not going exactly as you had planned. Maybe think about the learning style of your child. Maybe if there's a lot of writing in the curriculum, that you could pick one thing that day and help them stretch that throughout the year. Maybe for the first few weeks, maybe just do one of the writing projects, and then maybe after a couple months, add in some more and just see if that'll work. Maybe if there's a lot of reading, you can check and see if there's some audiobooks or if the curriculum has an audio. And I know a lot of them do. It amazes me how many even textbooks have the audio now, which is so nice. I know even for my high schooler, that was one of the things that drew me to the particular curriculum he used the last couple years, is that it had one of the main texts on audio. So that was very helpful. I'm going to give you one more example, and that was when my oldest was in 2nd grade. And for the first time, I decided to use Master Books Language Arts for the 2nd grader. And it just was not really what I expected. And I was hoping to use just that. I had been using the same phonetic program I had been using with my other boys, and he was moving pretty well along with that, where I thought that this would be good for him, like an independent book. But they did start introducing some grammar, like nouns and verbs and subjects, and I just was not caring for the way they were teaching it. Well, for one thing, I don't always just do a specific grammar program when they're in 2nd grade. It's more of an introduction for me. Like when they're writing, we will talk about what a sentence is and nouns and verbs and subjects within the sentence as they're learning to write. So, but they did have some good components of it that I did like, that they would have a story and then some questions with it. And sometimes they would have things in there that I probably had taught my boys, but not specifically with a curriculum, like the days of the week or the months, and writing them out. So that was something that I was fine with. Tried to use like 2 or 3 days worth of the book, and then I just continued on with the program we had been using since I already had it. So those are just some ways that you can tweak curriculum. I am actually in the midst of tweaking some things with my 7th grader now, and I am going to share that here real soon in a future video. And I have even switched one of our curriculums, and that is the next thing I want to talk about. What if something really is not, it's just not working? And I feel like for me, sometimes it comes down to it's not working for me as the teacher, as the parent. If it is at that point, then I would say that you may want to look into something that would be that you work well with, because that is so helpful as the parent, because you are trying, especially when they're younger. I would definitely want to say, especially when they're younger, because you're the one having to teach and plan and sit with them. And if you just cannot either wrap your mind around it, or it's too teacher intensive and that's just not the year that you can be doing that, then you may need to set it aside and decide on something maybe easier. You could come back to it if it's maybe just too teacher intensive, and maybe you could work on it later. It depends on the grade level and how many children you have. So there is a time that you may have to make the switch. It may be that you've been using curriculum that works great, but this school year, either there's some health issues, there's a new baby, anything that may cause somewhat of an interruption. You may have to pick something that is not as teacher intensive. So I do want to talk just a little bit about finding the curriculum that does work. And I'm focusing, yes, on the parent, but I'm also focusing on the child. And I am thinking, as your child enters the age of schooling, that you've already prayerfully been working with them on different things. So it's just the next level up of introducing them to academics in a different way. So what I'm about to tell you may take some time. It may just take a year. It may take a few years, but just figuring out what type of learner your child is, what style of curriculum they work best with. And once you figure that out, your choices will be a little bit easier to narrow down. So I will tell you one place that I found information, because if you're new to homeschooling, figuring out what you are talking about when you're talking about the way my child learns and the different styles there are out there, this may be new to you, and it was all new to me. I had no idea what any of that meant. But early on, I don't even remember how I ended up with the book from Kathy Duffy about her, I think it's 103 or 104 top curriculum picks. Now, I'm not advertising the book for her picks, but in the beginning of the book, it really gives you a good overview picture of the different ways children learn and the different styles of curriculum and what would work best with that type of learner. So that really helped me understand a lot of different things. So once you get that narrowed down and start to understand and see where your child is at, and yes, you may already have picked some curriculum and you're realizing it's not working well for them, I definitely encourage you to study out that a little bit and sort of figure out what type of learner. And sometimes they fall into more than one category. Like I have one that's more of an audio visual learner. I really feel like my 7th grader is just more audio and he can picture things, but I definitely have some boys that are more visual, and I feel like I'm more visual. It helps if I have a visual when you're trying to explain something to me. So figuring out how your child learns best is helpful, but also starting simple. Even if you haven't figured out what kind of learner they are, just starting with the core subjects like math and some phonetics of learning to spell and write and read is really where you want to start with them. Because once they have those down, I think you'll be able to see what kind of learner they are, and then you'll be able to add in the other subjects. And also, when you are making those curriculum choices and you're just not sure, I'm going to tell you, I really purchased a lot of curriculum used. That is just what we have to do. There are times that I do purchase some things here and there new, but I will tell you, if I can find it used at a good deal, that would be my choice. But if you purchase it directly from the company, they do have guarantees. Not all of them. And you definitely want to call, double check yourself before making a big purchase on new curriculum. They also have trials, 14-day trials, 3-week trials, and I have used those before, and sometimes I choose the curriculum and sometimes I'm glad for the trial because that was not going to work for us. So those are some other ideas. All right, my big thing is as you go into this, as you go into choosing curriculum, deciding on whether you want to stay with this curriculum, to really be praying about it. Ask God to just show you exactly what to do in this season that you're in, whether it be a new homeschooler, whether it be right smack in the midst of it or in the end years. And even for my 7th grader, right in the middle of middle school, I'm already thinking about high school and praying about it. I'm not really researching anything, but I'm asking the Lord as it comes to show me things that I might need to be thinking about or planning. All right, I hope this video is helpful. I will be doing more homeschool videos. Like I said, I want to share with you some changes, some changes and some things I've been tweaking. Yeah, it's been different, but it is going good. So I'll be sharing that. If you are new here, I would love for you to subscribe and join us. And if this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. That would encourage me so much. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and we will talk to you again soon.